Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, it's Van back in another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. If you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. Let's get started, shall we? Today we have Spike Brothers, Dudley, Reverse, Dotto. So as we know, Dudley's got a reverse in the Emperor. I think we all knew this was going to happen if Kyo actually got a reverse in the original. Do I like the new reverse? No. I don't know why. Maybe it's my luck with this deck. But the second I shoved the reverse in, the deck got so much more inconsistent than before. Like, now it struggles to send units to the bottom of the deck, and I don't know why. I think the reverse may have cursed my deck, but let's go ahead and get it started, and then hopefully whenever you guys use this deck, it won't curse you like it did to me. First up, our starter today is the one and only Mecha Trainer. Grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base, auto when drawn upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard's greater and greater, and put a quick shield ticket to your hand. And as we all know, it has the secret skill where when it's in your soul, all your units get plus 10 at all times, making it hard for your opponent to hit. But, you know, never say that in front of a judge because they might think you're crazy. Even though they're very much wrong, they might think you're crazy. So, as we all know, you can use any starter you want as long as it most likely has the draw and quick shield skill, because the quick shield is just a 5k shield you can use for discard fodder, and the draw you might top deck off of. But the reason why you run Mecha Trainer, it is a tradition in the United Dark States of America. When you are playing Spike Brothers, you must use Mecha Trainer. There is no exception. Maybe Mecha Analyzer, but Mecha Trainer must be your starter no matter what. Even if it goes against your entire deck completely, Mecha Trainer must be your starter. That's why Morikawa has Mecha Trainer as a starter, and he's the best Vanguard player ever. So if he's the best Vanguard player ever, whenever you have the choice of your starter, you must pick Mecha Trainer. Follow in the smart guy's footsteps. Anyways, our starter is Mecha Trainer. I'm not going to continue with that bit. Trigger lineup: 8 crits and 4 copies of Silence Joker, 4 copies of Sonic Breaker, and 4 draw PG in Tiara, Marilyn. Grade 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k power. Continue sending 4 sounds on your deck and auto guard circle. When placed this card from hand, one of your units cannot be sent to battle. Okay, even before the deck cursed me, I still ran the draw PG because, you know, getting hand cards in a deck, while, yeah, most of them rear guards are going to come from deck, you're still going to want to have multi-attack beforehand, so you're going to have to call stuff from hand, even if it's very minuscule. So Draw Trigger helps filter those out, and the deck gets enough power and criticals from Force 2 swapping around to the point where you only need 8 crits. The Draw PGs help for the defensives, and then 4 regular heals in Tiara. We all know why I don't like heal guards, but if you don't at this point, go check a video out from a few weeks ago. I think it was Locks, or one of those videos during Locks' week, where I just explained the real reason why I don't, or the full reason why I don't like heal guards, but the some down version of it is that they're detrimental to my playstyle and I don't like them. So 4 copies of all our triggers. Grade 1 time, 3 copies of Machine Gun Gloria. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. I swear, what the fuck is the rules of this football death arena? We have spiked footballs, which is fine, I guess, but then a player can casually bring a fucking machine gun onto the pitch. Okay, I know running sniper literally has a sniper rifle, but like, a sniper rifle I don't think compares to a fucking machine gun. What rules are they playing by? Jesus! Anyways, auto when it's retired from guard circle, counterblast 1 to call to an open rear guard circle. Okay, that's actually really good. You know, it's a 10k guard, counterblast, which sometimes can come back to bite this deck in the ass, but not really. Call to an open rearguard circle, and since your rearguard circle is mostly going to be open most of the time, this basically gets you a setup grade 1 for next turn, which is really nice. And when you can intercept with it, if they ever gave us the ability to intercept with it, then this thing could effectively be looped back onto the board. But then, unless that card had a high amount of counterblast cost for said skill, they would probably choice restrict these two from each other. And then auto rear at the end of the battle that it boosts a rear guard. Put 2 rear guards in the same column as the unit on the bottom of your deck in any order, and draw a card. So this and the unit boosted goes to the bottom, and you get to draw a card. Really nice, easy skill to open up rear guard circles, which is what Dudleys want the most. You get draws, or just Spike Brothers in general, and you can use it to call up to an open rear guard circle when it goes for guard, so you can be defensive and aggressive with this card. All around, nice grade 1. It works with a lot of the Spike Brothers decks, if not all of them, and I give it a 3 or 4 hit. 4 copies of Dudley William, our main grade 1 in terms of riding, and probably in terms of rearguard spamming minus Daisy. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, auto rear at the end of the battle that it boosted, put it to soul, choose one of your units, and move all your force markers on your unit circle to that unit circle. Basically, here's what you do with it. You ride a grade 3, put a force 2 on a rearguard circle in the front row, call a grade 2 to it, most likely Davy, use Davy's skill, get William out of deck, and then, or just set William up early, and then put William in that same column. Boost the grade 2 or anything with William. Cool. The attack doesn't hit. Doesn't really matter. Skill. William goes to soul that force gift, moves to the other rearguard circle. And then, oh, William happens to be in that column too. Do the same thing, except at the end of the battle, you move the gift to the vanguard circle now. Boom. You've cleared up your board, and every one of your attacks has at least hit for double critical every instance of this turn, except for maybe the last 2. And then the other skill is auto. When it's wrote upon, you may call this card to rearguard. So, you know, standard grade 1 ability. So easy grade 1 ride upon ability for a free call can set up you up board and allow you for an early rush if you went first, and can get you a soul, which can sometimes be a problem in this deck, and move around force markers, making your attacks a bit more aggressive. All around really nice grade 1, and definitely, like, I guess tag team playmaker with Daisy, definitely a 4 of. 4 copies of Dudley Daisy, our last grade 1. This is the one you want to ride. This is the one you want to call. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto when is replaced on rear guard by the ability of your card with Dudley in its card name. Soul Blast monster draft 1 grade 3 card with Dudley in its card name called to an open rear guard circle and shuffle your deck. At the end of your turn, put the called unit and this unit on the bottom of the deck in any order. Okay, so downsides first. It goes to bottom at the end of turn, which really isn't a downside because it opens up your board for next turn. Requires it to be called by an ability, which is the worst part about that skill, and it costs a Soul Blast, but that is honestly fine. And it has to call it, the grade 3 to an open rearguard circle, and it also has to specify a grade 3. But on the upsides, it gets you a grade 3, which means it could either be Lucifer or Emperor. Both of them work on rearguard circle. Lucifer can get you a counter charge. Emperor gets you the things that send to bottom, which is incredibly aggravating to go off, so Daisy's really nice for that. And, she's a really just nice set-upper, especially because, like, if you clear up your board early, you can just call Daisy and then use Daisy to get more multi-attack. Like, I think you can go Davy into a Daisy into an Emperor, and if they give us a grade 3 that can call when it's placed, then into something else. So Daisy all around is a really nice grade 1, and I like her for it. 4 of. But please don't ride her. She won't do anything on Vanguard Circle. Next up we have our grade 2s, and in the same situation as Daisy, really good, but you don't want to ride it, Agile Fullback at 4 copies. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto when it's placed on the back row center rearguard circle, and until end of turn, this unit can attack from back row, and if it was placed by an ability, gets plus 10. So first off, it has to be specifically placed in back row center rear. It cannot just be back row, it has to be back row center, which is annoying, but it's fine. And you know, if you called it by an ability, it will get plus 10. But regardless, as long as you called it, it gets back row attack for the turn, which is really nice. And auto at the start of your main phase, put it to soul, search it after 1 Agile Fullback, call it to rearguard, and shuffle your deck. Okay, so they took the Wonder Boy, Bracky, and Juggernaut formula and then just shoved it onto this thing. I mean, it's fair, but to be honest, Bracky has done a lot more good for me than this has. I mean, yeah, this lets you get a 4th attack without having to go try hard, but I do prefer Bracky over this. Because, you know, Bracky can be useful anywhere in the front row. This is only useful specifically in back row center. So Bracky's better in that regard. Wonder Boy literally gets you anything back to deck that isn't a grade 1, and Maximum is stronger, so Fullback. He's here because back row attack would actually be useful in this deck, but I am really tempted to just use Bracky instead. Actually, I wouldn't use Bracky. There's another card I would use, but Bracky comes in a close second. So 4 Fullback. 4 copies of Dudley Mason. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto rearguard when an attack hits. If anything, if your Vanguard has Dudley in its card name, counterblast 1 and put it to bottom of your deck, and choose up to 1 non-grade 2 card with Dudley in its card name from your hand and call it to rearguard circle. Oh, how much I love that ability that it literally has never gone off, because every time I try to hit with this thing, it either doesn't have a booster because I'm using Force 2, and even though Force 2 is on, it's not going to hit, or it is enough of a drop to where my opponent's not going to take it because they're at 4 damage and this has a Force 2 on it. As much as Force 2 is helpful in this deck, it is detrimental every time I try using Mason. And auto, when this unit is put into your deck from rearguard circle during your turn, choose one of your units and move all your force markers to the circle that unit is on. Okay, that's actually useful, because I can just use that with Emperor and then boom, free force marker move. I'm not saying the other skill isn't useful, I'm just saying I haven't been able to use it ever. So, you know, can net you a call of a non-grade 2, which is very unfortunate, because that means you can't use it to spam out a Davy, but that's fair. But, you know, it gets your force marker moves for free, and it can possibly get you an extra attack. So, 4 of Mason, because if you play it right, you can just go Daisy into a grade 3. Yeah. And then 4 copies of the undisputed Dudley Daisy, literally the best grade 2 in this entire deck, and I'm not even going to bother arguing that fact. Grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, auto van rear. When placed, counterblast 1, search your deck for 1 non-grade 2, card Dudley and card name, call it to rear guard, show your deck. Here's what you do. Get this in your opening hand so you can ride it during grade 2 turn. Ride any grade 1 you want, preferably William, but it doesn't really matter. Then, you ride Davy. Skill of Davy, counterblast 1, call Daisy to a column that isn't the back row Vanguard. Skill of Daisy, Soul Blast 1, use its skill to call either Emperor or Lucifer. If you called Lucifer, if you still have an extra soul left, Soul Blast 1 and get that counterblast right back. If you called Emperor, call more units so that you can use the Emperor to its fullest extent and then beat the shit out of your opponent on grade 2 turn. Or if you're on grade 3 turn, do the exact same thing, just everything is placed differently. So, you know, Davy's a playmaker, and then auto rear once per turn when a force marker is put onto this unit's circle, so charge 1. Yeah, that's meant for this. That is meant solely for this and Lucifer, but really good. Really good. You know, if you ran Wonder Boy in this deck, always send this back. There's no reason not to send it back. This thing is MB fucking P. If this amount ended up in your drop zone, send it back immediately. MVP 4 of, not even gonna dispute it. Grade 3 time. 3 copies of Demonic Lord, Dudley Lucifer. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Force Gift, 13k base. Auto rear, when placed by your card's ability, Soul Blast 1, counter charge 1. Yeah, just call it by, use this to call this, and then call this. But if you only have 1 soul, then just use this to call this, and you get a better attacker out of it. And then Auto Vanguard, when it swings, counterblast 1, put a rear guard to soul, draw a card and call it to 1 Dudley in its card name. Call it to 1 card from Dudley in its card name from your hand to rear guard circle, and if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 good, get the card unit gets plus 10 for the turn. Okay. Really good rear guard skill, because a counter charge for Soul Blast is really easy. The on attack skill, okay, you can call it to a closed rear guard circle, so, you know, it doesn't have to be open. You get a draw. You don't have to call. You can just counterblast 1 shove rear guard soul just to counterblast 1 shove rear guard soul and draw a card. You do have to call it Dudley if you choose to call, but you know, the call unit get plus 10. So all around, it's a decent backup grade 3. Obviously, it's better to call on rear than have on van, but if you need to have it on van, it is not the end of the world. It actually is pretty decent, and it can get you soul, so I give it a 3 of. 3 copies of Demonic Lord, Dudley Emperor. I am purely biased towards this thing over this, just because I think this thing looks cool. I love the moon. I also love the snow. And this thing reminds me of Kyo Bigfoot, aka the thing where Kyo went to the snowy regions of, I'm going to assume it was Hokkaido. Just because Hokkaido is the only place in Japan I know that is cold. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Or if it's somewhere else in the world, I'm also wrong. But I'm assuming it was Hokkaido. Anyways, Demonic Lord Dudley Emperor. Grade 3 200 Force Gift, 13k base. Auto when it attacks from van or is rode upon, but it can attack into anything as long as it was rode upon or attacks from van. Counterblast 1. Search your deck to 1 grade 2 or greater card with Dudley in its card name. Call it to an open rear guard circle and shuffle your deck. And then you choose one of your vanguards. It gets plus 10 for the turn. The weird thing about this is it has a break ride skill, but it never was. Wasn't released during break ride. It was around during break ride, but it never was released during the time of break ride. It was released beforehand, so I guess they just said fuck it, give it a break ride skill, and it's very interesting of what it actually is. Swings, counterblast, gets you a Davy, counterblast for Davy, gets you a Daisy to a column, skill of Daisy, gets you a Lucifer, skill of Lucifer, gets back one of those counterblasts. Okay, we get 3 rear guards out in one go, and the Vanguard also becomes a 23. I'm fine with that, that's a good number. And then auto van or rear, when your rear guard attacks, if your Vanguard has Dudley in its card name, that rear guard gets plus 5 for the battle, and at the end of the battle, shove that rear guard to bottom. Okay, interesting fact here. 1, that works on Vanguard or rear guard, but 2, well, also it's stacked, so if you have 2 of them, 1 on van, 1 on rear, it's plus 10. If you have 3 of them in total, that's plus 15. But the other interesting thing is not the rear guard that has to have the Dudley name, it's the Vanguard. So you could swing with an FN trigger, you could swing with a heal right here if you want, and it will still get plus 5 as long as a Dudley is on the Vanguard, which is really nice. And it works regardless of what grade your opponent's Vanguard is, and regardless of what grade your Vanguard is. So if you do the grade 2 rush thing and just use Davy into a Daisy into an Emperor, you can still get the plus 5 out of it and hit for decent numbers. All around Emperor is really good. Definitely my favorite grade 3. Or not my favorite grade 3. My favorite grade 3 in spikes. But I run it at 3 so the reverse can have spotlight time. Even though I do think the reverse is genuinely worse than this thing. Either way, or at least it's from the way it's been fucking me in the ass. Either way, 3 copies of Emperor because a really cool card and easy to pull off and hits numbers and was dominating the gameplay that I had with it. And our last card in the deck is 4 copies of Greato Demon Emperor, Dudley Emperor, Devastator. Grade 3 Twin Drive Force Gift, 13k base, Auto Vanguard. When your rear guard is put into your deck during your battle phase, lock a standing rear guard until end of turn. This unit gets plus 10, and your opponent's Vanguard to grade 3 or greater, discard 1, and this unit gets a drive. So, boy becomes a 23, guaranteed, and if they're a grade 3, you can possibly get a drive by discarding 1. Okay, easy skill, easy skill, easy skill. And Auto Van, when this unit attacks, if you have no grade 2 or less units, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, search your deck to 1 normal unit, call it to an open rear guard circle, and shuffle your deck. So, Davy, into a Daisy, into a Lucifer Chan, or into Emperor, just to get more power, because fuck it. I don't know about this one. Like, when I first saw it, I thought it was really good, but then in gameplay testing, either I don't know how to play Dudleys, which it would be a fair fact, or this thing is very ineffective, because locking a standing rear guard in a deck that sends most of their rear guards back to deck isn't really that helpful. And just to get a plus 10 in a drive, yeah, that's good, but it's going to be hard targeting a rear guard and still being able to hit decent numbers. And then not to mention, you still gotta like counterblast 1 and soul blast 1 to get an open rear guard circle. No, like, to be frank with you, I love this thing's art, but God, that skill has effed me over more times than I can count. And then I took out the reverse for test playing purposes just to see a little experiment. The deck did a lot better when I took out the reverse. So I don't know if it's just me, or if the reverse is cursed, or maybe the reverse is bad and I'm just trying to hide it with my mental thought because I really want to believe this thing is good. I don't know. If the reverse is doing good for you, but the reverse has just been proven to be more of a curse to me. But this is a build to show off the reverse, so I have to run it. But please note, in my personal builds, this is not in there because I don't need it. But 4 copies of the reverse, because in the situation where he actually works for you, he does very well for that triple drive and at the very least triple drive and 23k swing, but and the extra 2 attacks. So yeah, 4 copies. Gift wise, 5 force 1s, 5 force 2s. They are more or less the same in the sense that when they're required, they go in Vanguard or Rear Guard circle, and they can be placed on the same circle multiple times. Difference is force 2 doesn't stack, force 1 does. Their skills are, Force 1, when acquired, goes on Vanguard or Rear Guard, and the unit on that circle gets plus 10 during your turn, and it does stack, so for each one, it gets plus 10 more. So if you have 1 on a circle, plus 10. If you have 3 on the same circle, plus 30. You have 5 on the same circle, plus 50, etc. And Force 2, you can still put them on the same circle, but their effects won't stack. The unit on this circle with the Force 2 on it, the original critical becomes 2. Not the critical gets plus 1. If it was critical gets plus 1, it would be stackable, but because it doesn't have that, and it says original critical becomes 2, then it does not stack. So you can put 2 on the same circle, but it will always stay 2. So here's the thing. If you want to kill your opponent quickly, go Force 2. If you want to kill your opponent quickly, which this deck is very capable of doing because they can hit numbers very quickly, go Force 2. But ever since I've had the reverse in this deck, Force 2 seems to be hurting me more because Mason keeps showing up more than he normally did before. So Force 1 is the way to go if your luck is anything like mine. Or if your luck is anything like mine, just take out the fucking reverse, deal with it, and then put Force 2 back in the main front and then kill everything that stands in your way. All around, I think Force 2 is better, but in this deck, Force 1 might be better. Honestly, I don't really know anymore. And then our quick show, which is when one of you attacks, up to 5k for the battle. Just discard for this. Or your PG from earlier. Where is the PG? This is the PG. Discard it for that. Honestly, doesn't really matter. You can use this 5k shield if you really want to, but I prefer to discard it for those. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Honestly, like, I do think the reverse is cool. And when I first saw that they were bringing a Dudley reverse into it, I thought it was going to be really amazing. But, yeah. The reverse just seemed to be more of a letdown for me personally than it has been for anything else. If it works for you, good on you, because I think it is genuinely a good card, but I can't prove that because it won't let me use it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon, join Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.